Have you ever stopped to think about what really drives someone like a missile scientist? Or, what experiences shape a president who started out delivering newspapers?
It's fascinating when you peel back the layers, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's what we're doing today. We're diving deep into Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam's life, but specifically through his book, My Journey, Transforming Dreams into Actions.
Right. And our mission here really is to give you a shortcut to the personal stuff, the big life lessons tucked away in his story, rather than just, lifting his public achievements again.
Which we all know were immense.
Immense, exactly.
Huh.
But this book, My Journey, it's different. It sidesteps the politics, the policy debates. It's more like an invitation, isn't it? Into this quiet, almost intimate world where his dreams first took shape.
Yeah, shaped by family, by failure, which he talks about very openly, and his faith, under those starlit Rameswaram skies he mentions.
hmm So you can expect, really, a look at the roots of this incredible figure. We'll dig into some perhaps surprising details, but also that timeless wisdom that honestly feels like it could apply to anyone.
Regardless of where you are in life or what challenges you're facing. So, okay, if we're talking roots, where does my journey start digging?
Well, it kicks off right there in Rameswaram, his hometown in Tamil Nadu. And he paints this picture, it's really vivid, of this small coastal village. You can almost smell the sea air, feel the presence of the temples, the traditions.
It really sets the stage for this humble beginning.
It totally does.
Mm.
And he talks a lot about his father, Jainal Abdin,
Mm.
a boat owner and imam, described as devout, simple, but incredibly disciplined.
And you can feel that influence, can't you? How those core values became Kalam's own foundation.
Absolutely. There's this great little story he shares about his first job, delivering newspapers.
Right, I remember that.
And the key thing he stresses, it wasn't like youthful ambition driving him. It was just responsibility. Especially during World War II, the trains wouldn't always stop right at Rameswaram Station, so he'd have to hustle to collect the bundles further down the line.
Wow, as a kid.
As a kid. And for him, that experience wasn't just about earning his first coins. It kind of crystallized this idea early on. Strong values are way more important for big dreams than just, ambition alone.
That's such a powerful takeaway right from the start. And it sets the tone because as you read on, you see, my journey isn't just about successes. It's full of moments where he genuinely struggled. He even uses phrases like broke down emotionally.
Yeah, he's very candid about that, which is refreshing. It's not just, oh, I faced a challenge. It's deep disappointment.
So how did he handle those moments? Because we all face setbacks. What was his approach?
Well, one of the most powerful examples is that dream. He had a really deep-seated dream of becoming a pilot in the Indian Air Force.
Oh, right. The pilot dream.
Exactly. And he gets heartbreakingly close. He makes the merit list, but he's ninth, and they only took 8.
Oh, ninth. That's brutal.
Brutal. The kind of thing that could just completely knock you off course, make you give up entirely.
So what happened then? How did he pivot from that kind of crushing blow?
He frames it, interestingly, not as a failure, but as a redirection. That rejection basically nudged him towards the Defense Research and Development Organization, the DRDO.
Okay.
And that's where, looking back, he felt his real mission started. It makes you think of that quote of his, something like,
Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough.
That's the one. He really lived it. It wasn't just a nice saying.
And that feels like the core lesson here, doesn't it? That greatness isn't about somehow dodging failure. It's about how you react, how you transform it when things just don't go according to plan.
Which then leads into his scientific work. Because even there, when he talks about the satellite programs, the missile tests, the Agni project, he frames it as building hope, not just hardware.
Yeah, and what struck me reading it was the tone. It's never purely technical, is it? How does he manage to talk about, rocket science in such a human way?
He keeps bringing it back to the people. That's his focus. The scientists who were literally sleeping in the labs, their families waiting back home, all the unseen sacrifices that went into every single launch.
The human element behind the innovation.
Exactly. It's a collective effort, the sheer dedication that seems to have moved him the most.
And there's some really powerful stories that illustrate that focus, right? Like that time with the failed rocket test.
Oh yeah, that's a classic leadership story. The media was ready to pounce. The pressure was immense.
And his mentor, Professor Satish Dhawan, what did he do?
Dhawan stepped up, took full public responsibility for the failure, didn't point fingers, just owned it. But then privately, he pulled Kalam aside, encouraged him, analyzed what went wrong constructively.
Wow.
And Kalam said he learned a massive lesson from that. True leadership is about taking blame and giving credit.
That's that's huge. Not just for science, but for anything, really. About integrity, building trust in a team.
Absolutely. And this human-centric view, it shines through in other stories too, these encounters that really shaped him.
Like with his teachers or people he met later.
Yeah, exactly. He mentions his teacher, Siva Subramania Iyer, who, way back then, told young Kalam he needed to learn science not just from books but from nature, pushing him to observe, to experience.
Getting him outside the classroom. That's great teaching.
Isn't it? And then later, there's this really touching story of an old man in some village walked for miles barefoot just to hear Kalam speak.
Just to listen. Wow.
Yeah, and for Kalam, that showed this deep hunger, as he put it, among ordinary Indians for inspiration, for connection, even before he was president.
It shows the kind of impact he was already having.
And beyond those moments, he also talks quite openly about his spiritual side, his connection with leaders like Swami Maharaj, his belief that, prayer, the Gita, the Quran, the Bible, they're all just different rivers flowing to one truth.
That really paints a picture of well, a gentler, more poetic side to him, doesn't it? Beyond the scientist, beyond the president, someone deeply spiritual.
Yeah, very holistic. And that really brings us to the core message of the book, captured right there in the title. Transforming dreams into actions. It's not just memoir, it's a call.
A call to action. He's really pushing readers, especially young people, not just to have dreams, but to actually do something about them.
Exactly. And his vision for progress, it wasn't just about GDP numbers or tech advancements. He'd link it back to fundamental things. How we treat our elders, how we educate children, how much we value basic integrity.
That's a much deeper view of what makes a nation strong.
Definitely. There's that wonderful anecdote. I think a young student asked him, sir, I'm just a student. How can I contribute to the nation?
Right, what can one kid do? What did Kalam say?
His answer was so simple, but profound. He basically said, by excelling in what you do now, be the best student you can be, the best child, the best human being. That's how nations change.
Wow, no grand pronouncements, just focus on your immediate sphere, be excellent right where you are.
Exactly. Simple truths, like you said.
Yeah.
Delivered with purpose, not preaching. It makes you think about your own responsibility, your own contribution in a very direct way.
It really does. So wrapping this up, how does my journey sit alongside his other famous books, like Wings of Fire or India 2020? What makes it stand out in this deep dive?
I think the key difference is focus. Those other books often look outwards, towards a grand vision of the future. My journey looks inwards, downwards to the roots.
Ah, okay. Roots.
Yeah, it reminds us that behind the titles, president, scientist, legend, there's first a son, a student, someone trying to figure things out, someone who failed and got back up.
A seeker. And the beauty of it, I think, is in that quiet honesty. The storytelling feels very truthful, very tender. It doesn't shout its inspiration. It's more like a candle, gently showing the way.
That's a lovely way to put it, a gentle illumination.
So, for anyone listening, maybe if you felt a bit lost sometimes, or doubted yourself, or thought your small beginnings mean you can achieve big things, Kalam's actual journey here is such a powerful canter story.
It really is. And maybe a final thought to leave people with, something he said that always stuck with me, is this incredibly optimistic, almost cosmic perspective.
Go on.
He said, look at the sky. We are not alone. The whole universe is friendly to us and conspires only to give the best to those who dream and work.
Wow. It's quite a thought to ponder. The universe conspiring for you if you dream and work.
A very hopeful note to end on, I think.